No guaranteed paid sick time. So that's not cool, and that's not right, and it's definitely not good, and it's definitely not what we want to hear from Joe Biden. What we want to see is that Joe Biden do more for the people in sending out stimulus payments, because he should definitely do something now while he still has the chance. Because as the US enters a recession this year, everybody, we have important news for Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and even SSA. They have proposed a brand new stimulus program. When I say they, I'm talking about Democrats and Republicans. They will allocate billions of dollars towards new relief. Some Americans will receive these checks automatically, while others are going to have to a little bit more action. So there is a little less than a month before Colorado residents even who file their taxes receive this extra money. The Colorado Cashback Program, for instance, will give taxpayers who file their 2021 taxes by October 17th, $750 by the end of this month of January. Eligible couples will get $1,500, and even the governor who signed the law in May is set to return the money to taxpayers, as he originally intended for the payment to be $400 for individual filers and $800 for couples. According to the Colorado Department of Revenue, the amount was increased due to excess state revenue. The payment arriving by the end of the month will be for state residents who filed an extension, and the first round of payments was for people who had filed their taxes by June 30th and paid to residents September 30th payments. So, example of this is what I'm talking about, and when Colorado residents, they must be 18 or older by the end of this year to claim this free stimulus credit. Free stimulus credit, folks, because if a taxpayer who's eligible to receive this check owes any money to the government, like a child support or unpaid parking tickets, well, the rebate amount will decrease. Also, everybody, President Biden and top lawmakers fanned out across the country this week to visit bridges that are said to be prepared with new infrastructure money. President stopped at, for instance, the Brent Spent Bridge, which crosses the Ohio River, connecting Connecticut and Kentucky. The event touting an infusion of repair money going to bridges, not people. Why is it going to bridges? I have no idea, everybody. We all have to blame it on President Biden, because the focus of the White House and the GOP leadership on areas of bipartisan cooperation is a marked contrast to the House of Representatives, as they're still struggling to enact somebody to take charge. So what I want to say is that the infrastructure law put aside $100 billion for roads and bridges, and now rural broadband, ports, and other items are having some difficulties around us. For instance, this week's visit coincided with the announcement that approximately $2 billion of the money will be set aside for repairs in a large bridge program, which includes the Brent Spent Bridge and 3 other bills that the administration describes as some of America's most economically significant spans. Now, Kamala Harris also has visited Ford Drawbridge in the south side of Chicago near Illinois. She's talking about something about to repair these bridges, and Biden and other officials have also talked about lauding the importance of economic repairs for bridges in the business community. In total, the infrastructure law puts aside $40 billion for somebody to take care of this thing. Joe Biden has made several previous bridge visits during his time in office, including spans in Pennsylvania and New Hampshire, providing a visual reminder of the infrastructure money at work and with the economic consequences if despair had continued. So far, an infrastructure report card from the American Society of Civil Engineers put a spotlight on the overall problem. Of the more than 600,000 bridges in the United States, about 47,000 of them are classified as structurally deficient. The question remains just how much of the current efforts will resolve the overall problem. Civil Engineers estimates that $125 billion is needed for America's bridge repairing backlog, underscoring that additional investment will likely take place in the coming years, the coming days. What I do know is that Joe Biden's got to do something.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, after the 4.5 days and 15 votes to find a speaker, we started with our business by passing rules. The Republican rules and first day's activities were to help the rich and the powerful avoid taxes. The government, like any entity, just like any business, has to have revenue. And when people don't pay their fair share, they're cheating. They're committing crimes. They're defrauding their fellow citizens, because their fellow citizens either have to pay more money to make up the difference, or they don't get services that they otherwise would be provided through the government. By revoking all of those monies to the IRS to hire new employees, they are giving wealthy corporations and wealthy individuals like Donald Trump, who had only one auditor looking at his return, which was not looked at within the time period it was supposed to be looked at under the law or the policy of the government at the time, they're giving those people an open door to continue to make their IRS statements, payments, really not payments, but their first offers. And that's what they do. It's not filing your return, it's filing your first offer. So if they get away with that, which I don't think they will in the Senate, they are depriving the middle class, who they said they were trying to support, services and fairness, in that the middle class will have to pay more money because it's the wealthy and the higher corporations that get away with fraudulent returns. Then they're talking about banning or protesting through H-Con Res 3 violence against pro-life centers.
Because we have a ton of good news about the fourth stimulus payment that I want you to know. Congress is back this week and is facing a packed to-do list. There's a lot that lawmakers have to accomplish before January. Hopefully they can get the job done this time. For weeks, the White House has been urging Congress to pass more crisis funding, but the lawmakers have been trying to approve this aid, and there are disagreements appear about how to be paid for, and a Republican push to add amendments addressing some of the legislative priorities. Several weeks ago, Democrats and Republicans had already reached an agreement on this, but much less than $22.5 billion that the White House initially requested. This would actually be paid for using unspent funds that different agencies received as part of last year's American Rescue Plan. Some Senate Republicans, however, refused to move forward with a vote on the aid unless lawmakers considered another stimulus bill. So folks, I think that President Biden is doing a good job on the fourth stimulus check. Tell me what you think in the comments. We have a ton of good news about the fourth stimulus payment, so continue to keep on watching. $1,200 monthly checks have finally been approved and proposed for Americans, including Social Security, SSDI, and SSI. Okay, so millions of people in the United States that earn under $200,000 could get monthly payments of $1,250 very soon, while the expanded monthly child tax credit payments were temporarily paused back in December 2021. Lawmakers want to send out more stimulus relief money, and now Utah Senator Mitt Romney has an idea for another beneficial program. Senator Romney proposed a new program called the Family Security Act, which aims to reduce child poverty by providing similar stimulus payments to the child tax credit. Eligible families will be provided with monthly payments of $350 for each child under the age of 6 and $250 for each older child until age 17. Now this is similar to the child tax credit, which actually gave families $300 a month for children under 6 and $250 for children between 6 and 17. The bill is now being negotiated on by both sides of Congress, and we could see big action being taken by Congress this year. So,